Just go ahead and click OK on that up top.
Both of us or just her?
All of you, everybody. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Facebook Live with Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society, and they serve the Lake and Porter County since 1970. We're so excited to have them here tonight to share what they offer and help you discover your family history. So before we get started, I'd love for you guys to drop below in the comments where you're watching from. That kind of gives us idea where everyone's watching from and who we are reaching, because we want to reach as many people who have Indiana roots as possible. And also, if you have ancestors from Lake or Porter County, drop the surnames below or tell us a little bit about them. We'd love to hear it. So as we go through the presentation, feel free to post any questions in the comments below. We'll do our best to address during and after the presentation. So we're going to go ahead and I am going to turn it over to Kaylynn and Marlene. And maybe before we start, have you guys just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role within the society.
Okay, I'm Kaylynn Matthews. I am the president of the Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society for about 1.5 years now. And I've been a member of the society probably since 2002 or 3, somewhere in there. I lost track. So I've been involved with the society for a while, but I am also the Porter County genealogist for the Indiana Genealogical Society. And Marlene is here with me. Marlene, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Okay, I'm Marlene Polster. I live in Lake County. I am the Lake County genealogist for IGS. I've been with Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society since the early 2000s. I've been on the board in many different roles almost all that time. I also do a lot of different projects for them and just very active with them. So.
Excellent. So we are here today to talk about the Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society. Can we share the screen?
You should be able to.
I guess I should have asked how I do that.
Do you see a green share button?
Screen options. All right. So you guys should be seeing the whole screen as Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society, right?
Not yet.
Nope, I got to push the button that says share.
There you go.
There we go.
Now we got it?
We got it.
Got it.
So we have been a society since 1970. There we go. On April 25th, to be exact, a bunch of people with the same interest decided that they wanted to get together and form a genealogical society where they could help each other with their genealogical research. And they met at Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge in Michigan City, which is in LaPorte County. And they formed the Northwest Indiana Genealogical Society. At that time, it comprised St. Joseph, LaPorte, Stark, Porter, and Lake counties. But over the years, a lot of the counties decided they were going to create their own genealogical society. And so St. Joseph, LaPorte, and Stark broke away and did their own thing. So now we are left with just Porter and Lake County since 1984. We meet every month on the third Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time. And our location of our meetings varies between Lake and County. We try and alternate, and we meet at public libraries, trying to make it easily accessible to everybody. We also meet via Zoom. We broadcast our meetings via Zoom, and if the speaker allows us, we will record it and put it on our website. So on our website at NWIGS.com, if you are a member of the society, you can view our past meetings. Our meeting topics generally relate to genealogical research. We discuss certain tools that are available, how to use them, websites, how they can help you in your genealogical research. Also, many of the local historical and lineage societies will come in and talk to us about how to join their lineage societies, such as the Daughters of American Revolution. We just had them recently come. And they share with us how to fill out the applications and what resources they have that may help us in our genealogical research. Now, not all of the topics and presentations may pertain to everybody, but there's guarantee that there's several that are very general that everybody can get something out of. For instance, I went to one that was on Polish ancestry a couple years ago, and I thought, I don't have any Polish ancestors. What am I going to learn? Well, they talked a lot in there about church records and Latin records that are kept in the Catholic Church. And I came away from that seminar knowing a lot more about how to read Latin records. So every meeting, there's something that you may get that you weren't expecting. One of our traditions is every year we have a sharing session, which is where all the members get together and discuss what we've learned this past year, some of our great genealogical finds, maybe even a brick wall that somebody has and they need help, that suggestions on where to research. Marlene, do you have any experiences, or can you remember some things that were interesting from sharing sessions? I'm going to put you on the spot here.
Yeah, you are. I wasn't thinking about that. Oh, well, just learning. Sometimes we've learned from each other. We've found cousins in that sharing meeting because somebody is sharing something they found that day, and they might find out that they're related to somebody that's in the same room and they never knew it. So that's kind of fun to do, seeing you meet somebody new. They're working on the line, but they're also working on a cousin that brings them into that. So it's fun to do. That's some of the fun stuff we've done,
I think it's pretty fair to say that everybody who comes to a genealogical meeting loves to talk about their family.
Yeah.
And we love to talk about our own research. And so monthly meetings are a great way to get together with people of the same interests and just talk about your research. I know when I start talking about it with some of my family members, they're like, yeah, whatever, okay.
Yeah.
But they don't really want to hear about it.
A lot of times somebody will remember a name that you've mentioned, and they'll come back to you another time and say, hey, I was looking at some record book and I found that name for you. You might want to go look at that record. So it wasn't my family, but it was yours. So we help each other out through those meetings.
And our meetings are available to everybody for free. You don't have to be a member to attend the monthly meetings. We would like everybody to join and be a member because the membership dues is what pays to have speakers. A lot of the speakers charge a fee to come and speak to us because, I've presented before and it takes a long time to put together a presentation. And so it's a lot of work. So we feel we need to compensate them for the time that they've spent. If you have a topic that you want to learn about, you just give a suggestion. Hey, can we have a topic, class on, well, how about naturalization records? That happened last year. Someone said, hey, I would really like to learn about naturalization records. Can somebody help me? And we looked and tried to find somebody, and I ended up doing the presentation. So there's a wide variety of things, and we love to present topics that people want to hear, that we love the input. The schedule of all of our past classes and future classes are on the website at NWIGS.com. And like I said, you can view past meetings on the website if you are a member. And the membership is only $25 a year, which that's actually pretty cheap. I've joined some genealogical societies that are like $125 a year. So 25 is actually pretty cheap. So these are just a few of our upcoming meetings we have coming up. January 18th, like I said, they're always the third Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. Central Time. So January 18th is on Zoom only, as is February's meeting on Zoom only, because for those of you who haven't been to Northwest Indiana, our weather is totally unpredictable. So we've had several meetings in the past that we've had to cancel because of too much snow. So we figured January, February, we're just going to do them on Zoom only, and we don't have to worry about the weather. So January is our sharing session that we just talked about, where everybody can share an object or an experience or their research or ask for help. February is entitled Writing a Cabinet Card into Indiana's Historic Past. How to add magic pixie dust to your family story too. And that is going to be based on the projectkin.org website, which I personally am not familiar with that. Have any of the rest of you ever heard of Project Kin? Marlene, have you heard of them, or Kay?
No, I have not heard about them, so it'll be
No.
interesting. I look forward to seeing that.
So this would be a great seminar to come to if it's something you've never heard about. It might be you might learn something. March is at the Lake County Public Library in Merrillville, and also on Zoom. And it is streamlining your research with Text Expander, which is another tool to help with citations, templates, and text snippets using a tool called Text Expander. And there's going to be some hands-on demonstrations. And so that no matter where you're researching or what kind of research you're doing, if you're doing good research, you're keeping citations of where you looked, right? So March meeting would be an awesome one to come to. Now, the rest of our year is still being scheduled. So if anybody has any ideas on what they'd like to learn about, hey, give us a call. You can go on the website, NWIGS.com, and hit the contact us button and send a message that we will get to our programs chair, and she will try and find someone to give that message. So we also publish a newsletter called NWIGS, and it is published 6 times a year, every other month. We started doing that in 1979, and it is emailed to, or a link is emailed to the members that you can now go onto the website and look at the newsletter. You do need to be a member of the society to view that. Past issues are also available online. And we love to publish articles that other people have researched and learned about their family. So if you've run across something really interesting, or even just compiled something about your family, it can be a short couple paragraphs, or it can even be something longer, like in a series. We had, we'd love to publish those things. We had a gentleman in our society, Paul Davis, who wrote a series, and we published his genealogical research. Was that going on 20 years, Marlene?
Yeah, Paul started it in 1995, and he actually started it with the idea of any of the Germans that came to the southern part of Lake County. And he wanted to document their travels and who they were related to and when they came. And it just progressed to be so long that he'd been doing them, that he also started encompassing the whole county, and a little went over into Porter County a little bit with some of those names too. So, and I have in the past, we started indexing them, and we've got 2 volumes of those articles already indexed, and working on the 3rd, which should come out very soon. Unfortunately, Paul is no longer with us, but yeah, it was a wonderful series. So if you've got Germans in Lake County or Porter County, you can go onto our website, and if you're a member, to read those old articles.
Yeah, the article was called Germania in America. Yeah, those are fun reads.
Yeah.
Another index that we're currently working on right now is Lake County Military Discharge Papers, or the DD-214s. One of our members, Martha Latko, is going into the county recorder's office, and she looks at the books and is creating an index of who has DD-214s recorded there. It's pretty awesome. And those are all in the newsletter. Other things that we put in the newsletters are new books that are available at the library for genealogy research. There is what the society's been up to, what our meetings have been. If we've had members that have passed away that we find out, we publish an obituary or tribute to them. Anyway, there's no limit as to what we can put in the newsletter. So if you have something that you want to share, pictures, links, things that have helped out your research, we'd love to publish those things. And I think most genealogical societies are the same way with their newsletters. They want to have input from the members or people who are just researching in their county. We've had things in our newsletter that are links for Australian ancestors because it's something new and exciting, and you never know, somebody that's a member of the society may have family in Australia, because we're not all Lake and Porter born and raised for many generations. I'm one of those that's a transplant, so my people are all over the world.
There's, Kaylynn, we also have old indexes that were put in there that might help, that aren't anyplace else.
That's true.
You won't find them on Ancestry or Family Search. Some of our past members have done some of the indexes and put them in those early newsletters, and you're not going to find some of your names anywhere else but there. So it's a good reason to be a member of any society, is because their older newsletters have things in them that you may not find anyplace else. So it's something to think about when you're doing your research, is to look at the local societies to see what they have. And you just might find that brick wall that you've been trying to knock down.
One great thing about Genealogical Society newsletters is the Allen County Library. If the newsletters have been sent to that library, which ours have, The Allen County Library in Fort Wayne, Indiana indexes genealogical newsletters and by surname and location. So if you have a surname that you're looking for and you go onto the Allen County Library website and look at the Percy catalog, PERSI, and look at your last name, you can find Genealogical Society newsletters that may have your ancestor listed there, or at least the surname, and you can go and look at those, and our newsletters are there as well. So that's another index that you can look at. So we also do volunteer projects. So those indexes aren't created by magic. People do have to put them together, and our indexes are created all by volunteer. Nobody gets paid to do them, and it takes a lot of work to do them. So here we have some of our past projects. We've done cemetery transcriptions, which I think encompasses all the cemeteries, don't you think, Marlene?
Yeah, oh yeah, they've done, there's 123 cemeteries between both counties. We have 122. And that was started as a project to also help pay for us to have speakers. Some of our projects that we've produced books out of those projects, and we were able to put the money back into the society and do other projects. And so the cemeteries, yeah, we have all the cemeteries done already. So, and it was a very long project. It started back in 1992 and just ended in 2003. So, and many of those names now with Find a Grave are on Find a Grave, with some of our volunteers putting that up there for more people to see, not just only in our books or in some libraries. So, yeah.
So other past projects that we've done that you can find on our website are school enumerations, which is a listing of students who went to schools, elementary schools, secondary schools.
Definitely, that definitely is a good place to look if you can't find. Sometimes parents of children, parents are listed in some of those school enumerations. And so the people that worked on that project that was amazing for them to do those. Not every county has school enumerations, but we were lucky here in Lake County that we had them, and Porter County's got a couple of their school enumerations. So we've got those up there too.
Newspaper obituaries, there's some in the Chicago Sun-Times and then some in the local newspapers. We haven't indexed all the newspapers yet, but there are several on there. Pullman Standard Railroad employment records. Employment records, I think, wouldn't you ladies say that employment records are a record type that's not used very often?
That's very true. And with the Pullman Standard, we might want to remind everybody that the Pullman Standard employment records we have are from the Hammond plant, not the Chicago Roseland plant. Those are over at South Suburban Historical and Genealogy, but definitely those are the ones that they're housed up at Calumet Archives. But they are, we have the index because our volunteers went up many years ago to index things at the Calumet Archives. So very interesting. My father worked for Pullman Standard, and he was in the Chicago plant, but that was able to help me kind of time when my dad came to Chicago, because he was born in Michigan. So I was able to tell where my dad was, when my dad finally came to Chicago and how long he worked for him. So that is something that not many people can find.
I have a question here that
Sure.
someone posted on Facebook. Lori wanted to know where are the Lake County school enumeration records held?
The records, I believe now are at the Lake County Library, but actually if you look at our indexes, everything that was in those enumerations are in the books that we produced. The index books that we produce. So if you go to Lake County Library or Porter County Library or Fort Wayne Library or many libraries across the United States, that we've had many libraries order our books from us. So you may find them there, and you won't really need to look at the original records because the lady that did those enumerations, she believes in taking everything out of the original record and putting it in her books. So, but that's where you'll find them.
Never hurts to look at the original though, just to make sure that
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, they didn't transcribe something
Yeah,
backwards or
very true. Yeah,
a page didn't get missed.
yeah.
Hope that answered your question. Thanks for asking. One of our newer projects was the Haskell Barker payroll records. Those are just recently up on our website. We also have Lake County naturalizations. Now, you need to know, though, on the Lake County naturalization records that we have, that only encompasses the Crown Point Courthouse. If they filed for naturalization in the Gary Courthouse or the federal courthouse or any other courthouse, it's not going to be listed in there. It's only the one court. Some of our current projects we're working on that we would love to have more volunteers are the marriage index for Lake County. Marlene, you want to talk about that one? What you're doing with that?
Yeah, we started that project many years ago, and it's been a little slow going for us. We were able to go in and film those records, and then we passed them out to our volunteers to go ahead and index them. We're doing it the good old-fashioned way of looking at the record and writing them down, and then we go ahead and pass that on to somebody that will type them in, and then a proofer, because we do it the long way. And then we're able to put those indexes up on our website. And I believe right now we're up to 1931. And we were able to work with the clerk that many times what we have is the clerk has the applications from 1905 on microfilm, but we're only able to see a registration. If you go to Family Search or you go to the courthouse, you were only able to look at the marriage registration, not the application. You'd have to ask for her to go into her microfilm and get the application for you. And
what's on the-
sometimes
What's on the
those
application that wouldn't be on the registration?
well, the registration only gives the bride and groom name and the marrying official and the dates that they applied and the dates that they were married and the dates that it was recorded. Where on the application, you have much more. You have possibly where the person lived, possibly the parents' names, possibly where they worked sometimes, so what their occupation was. And so, and if they were married before and divorced, it might, sometimes we can't find those divorce dates. Sometimes on a marriage application, there is a divorce date listed. And then you can just go right over and have the clerk pull that divorce record for you if they were divorced in Lake County. So, but there's many in the registration books that are up at the clerk's office. There was a lot of times blank. If you ever look at the Lake County registration books for marriage and on Family Search, you'll see there'll be a blank one. Well, the clerk was being good enough to help us and look to see if there were names for those blank spots for us. So we have a few extra names there than what you might find on Family Search or any place else.
Awesome.
So. We really, it's a long project, but it's a good project. It'll be, we're moving ahead on it pretty quickly now, so that's good.
And we'd love to get marriages finished up soon so we
Yeah.
can move on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
How many books were there? Do you remember the number?
We went from book 1 to book 159.
That's a lot.
And yeah, that's a lot of books. And because Lake County was a marriage mill.
Explain what a marriage mill is.
A marriage mill is actually where people come from actually all over the country to be married. We've got many people that were from Wisconsin, Michigan. Ronald Reagan's first marriage was here.
That's
Rudy
cool.
Valentino's first marriage was here. And you see that in our books. People came from all over to be married. There was no waiting date time. They could come, and in the 30s and early 40s, people would jump the train and come here and get off the train, go downtown Crown Point, and walk into the courthouse and apply to be married. Or we had 5 justices of the peace at the time. They could just go to a justice of a peace who happened to have an application on his desk. He'd fill it in and then he'd marry him. I've heard stories where some of the JPs even had trays of rings that they would sell you a ring even.
It's kind of similar to Las Vegas now, right?
Yes, definitely it is. So yeah, so we have people from all over that came to Lake County to be married. If you can't find them, you've got to look in your surrounding counties or look in a marriage mill county.
You never know what you're finding in those records, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's very true. I had my son was helping with the project for a while. And he came to me and he said to me, "Mom, this name looks very familiar to me, but I can't place it." And it was the groom's name. I go, "Well, who's the bride?" And he told me the name. I go, "Well, that's your great aunt and uncle."
Oh, awesome.
We had no idea that they had been married here in Lake County.
Oh.
And of course, I went and got the application, and sure enough, that's who it was. So even volunteering to work on a project with a local society, you may find your people. Many of my volunteers say, "Yeah, I want to work and do that project because I'm looking for someone. Can you give me these years? I just might find one," because I think that's when they were married. So yeah, you'll be surprised what you find when you help volunteer to projects.
In fact, that's not a bad idea from wherever your family's from, calling the Genealogical Society and say, "Hey, do you have anything I can do remotely?"
Yeah,
And they might have something.
they may.
So our volunteer projects, like Marlene mentioned before, often get published in books and we sell them, but we also make databases out of them and put them on our website. So we have several databases. Some are free and some are for members only. So on the screen here, this drop-down menu is what you see for members only. And you can scroll through. Whoops. I tried to scroll and it doesn't scroll because it's a still photo. One great thing about when you're a member is there's this database keyword search, which searches all of our databases in one fell swoop. It's pretty awesome. Here's There it is. So I searched for the last name Bailey, and there were 678 records on the surname Bailey. And you can see here just a few of the, very few, because this doesn't even encompass all the A names. Plat index, cemeteries, marriages, more cemeteries, more marriages. There's several, but 678 records. It's pretty cool, huh? But again, that's a feature that we give to our members only. So these are a few of the databases that are free for Lake County. You can see that there's, East Chicago High School in 1919. Insolvent taxpayers list in Lake County, 32,000 people. That's pretty awesome. You never know what you're going to find on a Genealogy Society website. Like I said, these are all free. Hammond Pioneers, Gary's Elk Lodge Memorial, 1920. I don't know if people think about searching clubs and societies for their ancestors. But the Elks Lodge, the Lions Lodge, those are all the Masons. That's another good one. Where men would join the club or a group, and there's often records about them still around. So you can see there's a lot of information. Is there any of these, Marlene, that you think are totally awesome?
They
Or
all
that
are.
you've used before? I know they're all awesome.
They all are, but I would say if you had a doctor or even a dentist looking at the medical listings to see when they got their certificate to become a doctor, that would help you in your research. I like that insolvent taxpayers list. I found those to be very helpful to me to help time where somebody might have lived at a time or moved away and they didn't pay their taxes, So there's a lot of good ones there. Some more employment records, definitely. So you've got that East Chicago High School World War 1919. Interesting, because we all know we had that epidemic during 1919 too. And that can kind of help you to see if somebody disappeared or where they went to. Did they go to the military? And, your land records are always good. The early land sales and purchases. That can help you discover if somebody moved to Lake County or when they moved to Lake County.
That's a good 20-year
Yes,
gap right
very
there.
good during that time.
And that's early in the county.
We had a lot of Germans. If you take the time to read the Germania news, the articles in the newsletter for Germania, you'll see where there were a lot of Germans moving and selling out at that time. Some of them going to Missouri, some of them going to Minnesota. That will help you maybe even zoom into that date that they left. That could really help.
Never know what you're going to find.
Yep. A lot of good things to get you into where you didn't think you would find something, but you will.
So this one is Porter County. We have less databases for Porter County. We need to work on that.
Yeah.
But here's maps of Northwest Indiana, whether you're Lake or Porter County. Death notices, soldier enumerations. Again, these are all a few of the free ones. All right, moving on. Membership. $25 a year, access to members only databases. You receive the society newsletter 6 times a year, access to past newsletters, access to video recordings of past meetings and their handouts. And all those fees, the $25, goes to pay for the speakers and hard costs for the projects like thumb drives and pens and papers and upgrading the computers for broadcasting on Zoom, any hard operating costs. Nobody gets paid. We're all run by volunteers. The membership just helps us pay for the costs of operating the society.
You know, Kaylynn, I'm like you, I'm a transplant. And belonging to the society, I have learned so much about the people about Lake County. And even finding out I did have a cousin that came to Lake County and was living here, and I never knew it before. So just $25 a month is very reasonable.
You never know if people pass through, because there's a lot of people
yeah.
who migrated west that came through
Yeah.
Northwest Indiana.
Definitely.
So this is our website. Of course, the top, you can click on any of the capital headings to get more about them. Our meetings and classes, if you click on it, hopefully my internet's fast enough. It'll go through our upcoming meetings. And there's the link to register on Zoom. By registering ahead of time, you will get the link and you will get reminder emails to tell us or to remind you that it's happening. You will also be updated if it is one that is live at the library and there's a problem, then we can let you know where the alternate location is. We did have one last year that had a, I think it was a leak in the ceiling, if I remember right. Anyway, construction, they had to close down the meeting room, so we had to switch libraries last minute. So that's our current meetings, and then the past meetings, you can click on the link to go to see your last meetings, or the past ones. You can also find it here at the top, past meetings. One thing I didn't talk about yet under the membership is the Pioneer Heritage Circle. If you have family that lived in Lake or Porter County, you can apply for membership in the Heritage Circle. So if your ancestor was here prior to 1851, that would be in the Pioneer Circle. 1851 to 1879 is Old Settler, and then there's the Heritage up to 1905. So what you would have to do for that is you have to prove with documentation that this is your ancestor. So you'd start with yourself and prove each generation with original records such as birth, marriage, death, court records, census records, basically proving that each relationship is correct and the dates and places are correct. And once you get to the ancestor, that you can prove that he owned land in Porter County or lived here, paid taxes, census records, something that puts them in the time and place. You send all those documents in to the society, to NWIGS, and you can become a member of the Heritage Circle. Kind of fun. Application procedures down here, and it costs $15 if you're a member or $20 for non-members, which is non-refundable. And if you have multiple people, like we've had in the past, we've had 2 brothers that both wanted to be members. So they use the same documentation because, why not? Why redo everything?
Yeah.
But they had to both prove the relationship to that first common ancestor. Here's an example. Larry Kinder presented Bruce Ryan with certificates for himself and his brothers Hugh Ryan and Wayne Ryan for their great-grandparents John and Marguerite Schmalrate. I can't talk tonight. Right, Ryan. And they proved that John Ryan arrived in America in 1836, and Margaret Schmal came with her family in 1838. They were married in Lake County, and John became a naturalized citizen in the Crown Point Court in 1847. Pretty cool to see all the relationships and their connection to Lake County.
And Kaylynn, it's a great way to preserve your research too.
Yeah, all of the records that are submitted are stored in the IUN Calumet archives. And they're in a humidity controlled archive. It's not in somebody's basement. It's pretty cool. It's preserved.
Pretty good.
We also have on our website images, which these are pretty cool. And we've had requests to use these in books or research papers. There's a lot of postcards that actually, is the link not working? I clicked on the wrong one. So that's the description. There we go. Here's our archive. So you have a lot of different images for Lake County. I'm just going to randomly click on one. I haven't even previewed this. But here, 1938 Lincoln Highway, US 30 in Dyer. Isn't that cool? If I could enlarge that a little bit. Doesn't look like that now. But there are several. So you may find information about your ancestors, where they lived, and there might be a something about them. Here's a home with the old horse and buggy. That one's pretty cool too. Sometimes it's fun just to go look at their way of life 100 years ago, how different it was from ours. Wouldn't that be cool if that was your ancestor sitting right there in front of his house? That one was 1909. Dyer. Unfortunately, we don't know who it was. But what if your ancestor was married in the Dyer Catholic Church in 1910? Look at that. Now you can see the interior of the church, and just imagine your ancestor getting married there. How cool is that? I think that's pretty awesome. I'm going to go back. Oh, oops. Any questions or anything you can think of that I haven't addressed, Marlene?
There, we've got, it looks like 2 questions
Okay,
here.
awesome. Let's go.
Let's see. Lori says she wishes you had courage. I'm terrible at saying this. Courasian Fraternal Union and all those other ethnic clubs for Gary from 1920 to 19. This must be a misprint because it says 802. So maybe 1982.
Yeah, we haven't been able to find those records yet.
For Croatian Fraternal Union?
Yeah.
I will put it on the wish
And,
list.
and other ethnic groups, she said.
And other what?
Ethnic groups.
Okay, maybe we needed to check. If she's looking for someone, I would suggest contacting IUN Calumet Archives. Maybe they may have some. I'm not sure, but that may be someplace she may be able to find some of those records.
Good idea. Okay.
But I know I have not run across them yet, so. But if I did,
might
I'd
be
gobble them
somewhere.
up to index them. Yeah.
All right, and then we had Paul. He says, has anyone had trouble with clubs or groups and not wanting to share their records?
Yes. Unfortunately, those are private organizations, so
Yeah.
there is no freedom of information access. So yeah, employment records, employers have a hard time
Yeah.
letting us view those. Some churches have a hard time letting us view the records.
It's true too.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of
Funeral
times,
homes, we have a hard time with them.
yeah.
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 So, yeah.
So sometimes you have to bribe them. Here's $25, here's $30. Would somebody please look for this little bit of information in your records? And sometimes I'm like, okay, I can do that. Rather than letting you physically come into their records, and because who knows what you're going to find about living people. So many people are concerned about violation of their privacy.
Mhm.
But if you ask them and pay them to do it, they might be willing to do that for you.
Yeah, especially if they find out it's preserving the records.
Right.
Correct.
But be upfront saying, this is my relationship to this person.
Mhm.
And know that if you're paying for a search, you may not get anything back. There is that risk.
This was great. I don't see any other questions. You guys did an amazing job
Thank you.
Thank you.
and lots of information. And I want to, let's see, what my notes. We want to give you guys a big thank you, Marlene and Kaylynn, for
Thank you.
doing this tonight and really highlighting your society, which I think is important for people to know about. For anyone watching, please visit their website and also go to their Facebook page and share in the comments where your ancestors are from. If you have questions, just follow their page. And that's also a way to stay updated with what's going on in their society. So be sure to check them out and give them a follow. Thank you guys. Let's see, next month we'll be welcoming author and family historian Ron Williams, who shares an inspiring story about his journey of discovering what happened to his paternal grandfather that had another identity for quite a few years. So, we want to thank you again. This will be available on YouTube and on Facebook. So if you guys want to check it out, rewatch it, share it, we appreciate it. And thank you all again. Ladies, this was fantastic. And I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you for having us.
Yep.
Have a good night.